Hello everyone and welcome back to today's weather video. So we're going to talk about the upcoming spring severe weather season and what it actually could, oops, I almost fell over, what it actually could pose for the actual country. So March is basically the time between winter and spring. Obviously we have the spring solstice that comes in on the 20th, or this year on the 19th of March and everything. And what it does is basically has the whole entire jet stream lifted a little bit northward as it does in the springtime as opposed to the wintertime. So we have basically in the wintertime a jet stream, okay, that basically like cuts down from the Canadian border into the actual US and everything. And what it does is basically brings a lot of Arctic and colder air with it, hence the winter season and everything. But during the springtime, we actually get a little bump from the subtropical jet stream, which rides a lot during the winter season along the actual equator and the south of the United States and everything. And what it does in the springtime is it sometimes jets up into parts of the US, and that's where it brings a lot of severe weather, especially in the months of March. So, where do we expect a lot of severe weather? And when we talk about the actual severeness of it, we're talking about hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. A lot of the times we are expecting it in the southern plains, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, and then we also have other places in the southeast, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. This is the area where we see a lot of more basically complex weather systems come into the picture during especially the month of March, and we see a lot of flare up in thunderstorm activity and internus severe weather. Now, a lot of the times during the actual spring season, we have a lot of clashes between the cold and the warm, basically. So we have a sometimes a strong, like basically, what you would say, like cold front basically sweep through from Atlantic Canada, or not Atlantic Canada, basically from Canada, obviously, down into the actual central plains and everything. But at the same time, you have a lot of warm moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and the subtropical jet stream coming northward, and they basically clash. And what that does, it actually makes this the actual air around it very unstable, and so we tend to get it during March in the actual southern plains and near the actual Gulf Coast and the southeastern US and everything. So, what does this mean for this year? Well, there are two things. So, La Nina, which is basically the um, cooler Pacific temperatures of the actual Pacific Ocean on the eastern side of the Pacific Ocean, here off of the coast of Mexico, that actually fuels the actual jet stream to actually bulge a little bit more northward than it normally does in a off La Nina or El Nino year and everything. So it actually enhances the actual flow of moisture coming in from the Pacific Ocean into the Gulf Stream or Gulf of Mexico, and then the Gulf of Mexico actually a little bit northward into the actual Gulf Coast and the Southern Plains. So that enhances a lot of moisture in the actual atmosphere, and in turn, it actually can make it very unstable because we still have a lot of actual cold fronts coming down from Canada to make it more unstable. So, with the instability and everything in the lift in the actual atmosphere, it will turn a lot of storms more severe. Now, so far this actual year, we have not had a lot of severe weather. It has been a bit of a quiet so far beginning of March, end of February, mainly because we actually had that Arctic air come down into the actual southern plains. So it's actually cut off the flow from the subtropical jet. So we've actually seen just kind of like a clean slate of severe weather so far. But with La Nina, with that enhancement and everything, like I said earlier, in the actual subtropical flow and everything coming up here into the actual Gulf of Mexico, we could start seeing more severe weather outbreaks. So I do think here from Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and the Carolinas, Tennessee, going up into the Ohio River Valley, we could see more of an enhanced severe weather season, especially going on to the end of March, especially April and May. Now, statistically, April, which I'll have another video on this later on this month, April's actually the most severe slash kind of May and everything weather month for the actual US and everything in terms of severe weather like tornadoes and hailstorms going over into Tornado Alley over here in the actual plains and Dixie Alley over here in the southeast and the Gulf of Mexico. So we will see what happens with that. But I do expect this year with La Nina, I do expect a more severe weather outbreak, possibly here into the actual southern part of the United States. So we're going to have to see what actually happens over the next few months, basically. So that is my severe weather outlook. I hope you all enjoyed it and everything. And if you have any more questions, you can comment in the comments below and everything. And we'll talk to you all very later. Take care.